And she was like, your uncle is not ready to get married. I'm not getting any younger. So I've met someone that is serious that wants to marry me as soon as possible. So she had to go ahead and marry. Hi! Heartbreak. I wanted to die. Hello guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Uche, and if this is your first time on this channel or you're a returning viewer, you're highly welcome. So guys, in this video I'm going to be reviewing a classic novel. So I'm going to be reviewing the book The Slave by Elechi Amadi. So this book is very old, but it is actually gold. It was published in 1987. I wasn't born then. I remember discussing this book with my dad, and he was trying to remember and was saying something like he thinks he read the book or he came across the book when he was in secondary school. So I know majority of people that are going to watch this video, they were not born in 1978, but hopefully our parents were born then. So The Slave is one of the books in the African Writers series that was published by Heinemann. So back to the story. Back to the book The Slave by Elechi Amadi. Guys, this book is very complicated. So The Slave is actually set in the eastern part of Nigeria. So we're not given a state because it was set in the pre-colonial time. So there were no states then. It's set in Igbo land. And it tells the story of Olumati, who is the main character or who is the hero of this novel. So Olumati returns to his village where he originates from or where he's an indigene of. And when he returns, there are mixed feelings upon his return because he is believed to be a slave of Amadioha. So Amadioha is one of the gods in Igbo land. It's a very powerful god. So it's believed that once you're a slave of Amadioha, you cannot come back to live with normal people. You're just supposed to be in shrine of Amadioha, stay there till you die, do everything that you want to do. You're not supposed to come back to live among normal people because now you're seen as something that belongs to the god. So you're kind of ostracized, and you're kind of seen almost like an outcast. But the thing now is when Olumati returns, he struggles to be accepted in the society he finds himself in. And it took the proclamations of the traditional custodian to ascertain that, okay, he was not a slave of Amadioha. And what actually brought about him being a slave and him not being a slave was the fact that his family was attacked, or let's say his clan, Erekwi Clan, was attacked by another clan, and majority of the people in his clan, they escaped, and some of them sought refuge in Amadioha's shrine. Now Olumati's father sought refuge in Amadioha's shrine, so he was now a slave of Amadioha. He belonged to Amadioha now because he sought refuge from him, obviously. But now the thing was the deliberations that brought about Olumati being exempted from being a slave of Amadioha was the fact that Olumati was born before his father sought refuge in Amadioha's shrine. So if Olumati had been born when his father was had already become a slave of Amadioha, automatically everything that the father owns, his wife, family, everything belongs to Amadioha. But Olumati was born before this, so Olumati was allowed back into the community. He was allowed to live in the community. He was shown the lands that have been abandoned by his family, and although he didn't reclaim every of it, but he proceeded to settle down in the community like a normal person. So now in Igbo land, they are what we call clans, and this is just a group of families. In the pre-colonial times in Nigeria, the Igbo people, who mostly occupy the eastern part of Nigeria, they actually practice what they call the Republican system of government. And it just means that when you go to the Igbo land, as at then, you will not pick this person and say, okay, this is the ruler, or this is the traditional ruler, or this is the head of this community. It is not done that way. So there are clans, and these clans contains family, extended family. So they just belong to one clan. So different clans, and they answer different name, their surname particularly. So what just happens is when they want to decide things that concerns the community, or they want to make issues that will affect all of them, the oldest man in the clan or the oldest men in the clan come together to deliberate on these issues. So it's just kind of like a representative system of government. So that was how it was then in pre-colonial times, and that was why when the British colonial masters, came to colonize Nigeria, they found it very very hard. The divide and rule system failed terribly in the Igbo land, and that was because there was no particular leader. There was no person you can pick and say, okay, this is the leader of the whole community. And Igbo people, they are actually they are resilient, and they are very, I don't know if I would say they are tenacious when it comes to their beliefs. So it's very very hard for them to move away from what they actually believe. So they hold their culture, they hold everything that concerns them very, very dear to them. And I would say something like maybe pride. They pride in themselves. So it was just so hard for the colonial masters to actually succeed with their system of government in Igbo land. So moving on, when Olumati returned to his village, it was just his aged grandmother and his older sister that were remaining in their family compound. The rituals were done to welcome him back to the society. The traditional custodian, who is known as Minikwe, invited him over and told him to make friends with his son Nyeche. So Nyeche became Olumati's closest friend, best friend even, taught him so many things like palm wine tapping. So Olumati basically just set about settling back into the society, into his community. So he became a palm wine tapper and also a farmer, and this is mostly the occupation as at then in the pre-colonial times. So either you're a hunter, you're a palm wine tapper, or you're a farmer. So majority of people, they do these three things together, or you're a carver. So Olumati did these three things together. He hunted for bushmeat, he tapped palm wine from his palm trees, and he farmed too. So he mostly cultivated yam. I remember he cultivated yams a lot. So now he was working. Now he had something he was doing. He was getting small money from. The issue of him getting married became a topic, and his older sister Aleru kept on telling him about this thing, this married thing, and even suggested that he marry her friend, her very closest friend, Enna. So the way Enna is described in the book, Enna is a very, very beautiful girl. So now in Igbo land, what is considered as beauty, a woman that is tall and dark and curvy is actually considered as a very beautiful woman. You know, someone that when she stands, people turn to look at her a second time. So Enna was the perfect epitome of beauty. She was gallant, you know. But the thing now was Enna had so many suitors. Who didn't want a beautiful girl as his wife? So Enna had so many suitors, and one of her suitors was Aso. And now Aso is from the rival Okani family, or the Okani Clan. And now this Okani Clan, they are enemies with Erekwi Clan. I remember that Olumati is from this Erekwi Clan. So they are sworn enemies. And now Erekwi Clan, they blame the Okani Clan so much because they believe that it was this Okani Clan that attacked them, that led to the family members of Erekwi Clan deserting the village and seeking refuge in other places. So there's this hatred. So I'll just say the sons inherited this hatred for each other, mostly on Aso's side, because Olumati just wanted to just settle down and just reclaim his father's properties and set to establishing a family. So that was what Olumati was about. But Aso on his own was just hot-headed and picked a fight with Olumati on the first day he met Olumati. And now the thing is, Aso is an accomplished wrestler. So guys, wrestling was a very big thing in the pre-colonial times in Igbo land. Wrestling was a big deal. So men were respected based on how good they were when it comes to wrestling. They were feared even. So Aso was an accomplished wrestler. And now he picked a fight with Olumati. But the thing was, he was thinking Olumati was someone, you know, Olumati is a stranger to that community now. So he was thinking Olumati was someone he could easily beat. But when he picked a fight with Olumati, they were matched equally. they had equal strength. So he did not succeed in throwing Olumati to the ground. They were just of equal strength. So that got them thinking, and the people that were present, their friends that were present to watch this fight between Olumati and Aso. They had something to think of, because normally Aso would have floored any opponent, but now there was this stranger, there was this new kid in the block when it comes to wrestling. So they had something to think of. So it didn't stop there, and in Igbo land, there are festivals. Is it the masquerade festival? But this time around, something that all the villagers looked forward to. And it's usually towards the end of the year when they bid farewell to the old year and usher in the new year. I think it's the Ige Festival. So it is accompanied by wrestling and so many things, harvests. So during this wrestling, um, Aso the champion. Aso came out. It was just about the place, flexing. Just and the drummers were there. They were singing his praises. His head was swelling. He was so he was just all over the place. He was asking the other wrestlers to come out and challenge him, so that of course he can just defeat them easily. But now the thing is that Olumati's grandfather was actually a very, very great wrestler. So I think he's called Wakwakata the Spider. So Asu was just going about asking the other wrestlers to challenge him, and then he actually challenged Olumati, because Olumati didn't have the intention of actually wrestling with Asu, but Asu challenged Olumati, and they began wrestling. Guys, if you see the way wrestling is described in this book, it is so vivid. Elechi Amadi is just, oh my god, the man is excellent with words. May God rest his soul. But guys, it was just so vivid. Like, there's this suspense. The suspense is like you can actually cut through it. Like, it's been so long since I've read something that just gripped me so much and that was so suspense filled. And it's such a simple thing as wrestling, not so simple thing as wrestling. So they began wrestling, Aso and Olumati, and I was so scared. I was thinking, okay, that Aso is going to floor Olumati, or is going to defeat Olumati, because the crazy thing about this is, okay, the first time Aso and Olumati they had their fight, they didn't have that much audience, but now this was in the wrestling arena. This was a real wrestle now, and people from other villages, it was crowded, so everybody was there. So if your opponent floors you, or if your opponent defeats you, embarrassment, disgrace, you're going to be seen as a weakling, kind of. And when you talk or when you make noise, people won't really listen to you. So this was how it was. And Olumati did not only defeat Aso. See, guys, if you do not want spoilers, just stop here or you skip the video to the end. But guys, Olumati did not only floor Aso, he injured Aso. Like, he carried him up and threw him to the ground. And one thing about the wrestling then was that the referees that are there, they are supposed to, in fact, they guard against this move, because it's usually fatal to the defeated ones, because you could either break your back, break your neck, a man could get killed there. So and it's a thing of pride for the winner, that, oh, I threw this person to the ground, I broke his back, kind of thing, something like that. But in this case, the referees, I don't know if they were sleeping, they were not there, and so Olumati succeeded in throwing Aso to the ground, and in fact, like, Aso even collapsed. So his family had to carry him out from the arena. So Olumati injured Aso in such a way that Aso had this hump. So people did call him a hunchback or something like that. So, like, it just ended Aso's career. When it comes to wrestling, he ended his career. So now, for Enna, the beautiful girl that is Aleru's friend, and who Aleru was asking her brother Olumati to get married to. So now there's this thing that is called Ngbede in the book. So families do send their young daughters that are of marriageable age to this Ngbede, so they can, it's just kind of like, I don't know if I'll describe it as kind of a solitary confinement. Also, it's not solitary confinement. Like, per se, but this young lady that is of marriageable age just stays there, so she's taking proper care of, just her beauty is enhanced, and all this is just this traditional stuff, so that to prepare her for moving to her husband's house finally. So usually from this Ngbede, usually sometimes it's 1 year, 2 years, just depending on the family and depending on the girl. So from this Ngbede, you go to your husband's house. So most times during the Ngbede, the lady in question picks a suitor, and this suitor just contributes to her coming out. So the final coming out is when she's expected to come with her husband, and it just varies for different people, as is explained in the book. Of course, Olumati and Enna, they were not strangers. So Olumati would go sometimes, not very often, sometimes with gifts to discuss with Enna. But the thing about it was, no matter how much Olumati's sister Aleru pushed for Olumati to make his intentions known to Enna, he didn't he didn't even tell Enna that, okay, oh, I want to marry you. Do you like me enough to marry you? And Enna's father is described as someone who is wealthy. So, like, they are comfortable in their family. So she's not from a poor family. She's from a respectable family. And in Igbo land, a respectable family is a respectable family. You are well respected in the community. Olumati will just go once in a while to see Enna. So he, on his own part, he didn't want to be forthcoming. Why he didn't want to just tell Enna his intentions was because he was trying to gather money, because seeing that she's from a good family, when she's coming out from the Ngbede, he's supposed to have a lot. He was waiting to acquire the whole world, or he was waiting to acquire enough so that Enna's family will not see it as their daughter marrying into a poor family or something like that. So that's what he was trying. Olumati and his older sister Aleru, they are very, very close. So it just happened that Olumati's friend Nyeche finally got married to Aleru, and it burdened Aleru more that now that she was in her husband's house, Olumati needed someone to cook for him, someone to take care of the house and everything. So there's this other friend that she has, Adiba. So Adiba is described as a very beautiful woman. Her beauty can be compared to Enna's beauty. But now the thing is that Adiba has a bad foot. So one of her legs are bad. So she kind of limps. And her brother, Adiba's brother, is Wizo the Carver. So Wizo is very skilled when it comes to carving. So he was the one that was contracted to do the carving for Enna's stool. So the stool that Enna was supposed to use while in Ngbede. The stool, the marks when she's coming out from the Ngbede. So he was one that was contracted to do this mark. So he did an excellent job in it. So he was also Olumati's friend. So they did their discussions, everything, most things. One thing I like so much about the Igbo community as it described then, and even as it was then, so from my knowledge of Igbo land and the practices before the colonial times, there is this communal living. So like maybe you need to build the house. You can call the young men in the community to build the house. Even the women, they can even come to lend the helping hand. So the women's jobs is just to make sure that there's no lack of food and there's no lack of palm wine. While the men, you don't need to pay them, just provide them with food and water, and they'll set up your house for you. Even when it comes to farming on your farmland, the men might be six, and they'll do it by rotation. So six of them, they farm on this person's land, so they clear everything tomorrow. So it's just rotated like that. So there was this sense of belonging, this sense of this communal living that was with them. So everything was just cool like that. And so Adiba became very friendly with Olumati. So she would help when Aleru went to her husband's house. Sometimes she would come cook for him and things like that. And unfortunately, Aleru died. So it was very, very painful because Aleru was one of my favorite characters. So Aleru died and she was pregnant, almost due to give birth. So first she had an abortion. The abortion was not done by her. So the child just There was just an abortion, but it was not done by her. So the child died, and she too, the bleeding could not stop. She was bleeding, and so she died too. And it was very, very, very painful that Aleru died, because she was one of my favorite characters. It pained me a lot that she died, and then this shook Olumati so much. Olumati's grandmother died earlier on in the book too, and now they still have a living relative. So their mother is actually still alive, but she's in another village. That's the village where she came from, and she refused to come back to this their own community where Olumati and his sister they were living, and that was because she's still scared about the attack that happened to them when she was the wife there, and the wife and the mother there. So she's just so afraid of coming back. After Aleru's death, Adiba became very friendly with Olumati, helped him to cook. So I was even thinking that something would even eventually go on with them, because Adiba is very, very hardworking too, but Olumati had his sights set on Enna. But now you have your sights set on Enna. You've not told Enna for one day that I want to marry you. So it just happened that when the Ngbede was over and Enna was coming out, Olumati went with his gift. He kept on procrastinating, and it was just so annoying. Like, he had so many opportunities to ask Enna out, but he kept on looking for the perfect opportunity. And the thing is that there is no perfect opportunity. So on that day, he saw that Wizo is friend, and mind you, Wizo has been married before. He has a daughter from that marriage. But the thing was that his wife died, so he was a single father. And now he saw Wizo, his friend, looking well dressed. Something was going on. Like, even when I read, I was like, this one that Wizo is dressed like this. What is going on? What do we not know? So it got revealed to us. It happened that Wizo had asked Enna to marry him, and Enna had agreed. Oh my God, Jesus Christ, there is no heartbreak that is worse than this, guys. If you read this book, oh my God, like, I literally felt it. I just hope I've not spoiled it for you, but I literally felt so bad. Oh my God, because I was really, really rooting for Olumati and Enna to be together. I just wanted Olumati to just find someone, and because he was so lonely, the closest person he has in the world, Aleru, was dead. His grandmother was dead. His mom was far away. His mom had even sought to remarry. His mom was in the process of remarrying in the other village, and now the person that I was hoping he would end up with was betrothed to someone else. I'm sure Enna was waiting for Olumati to ask her out, but Olumati did not ask her out, and it's unseemly for a woman to ask a man to marry her. So it's just on the head of then. Times have changed now. So it was just so, oh my God, I could feel Olumati's heartbreak. It was so painful to him. It was like the world stopped for him, and oh my God, I felt so sad. And I was like, you see, this Elechi Amadi has come again. He has started again. This was the same thing I felt when I read The Concubine by Elechi Amadi. So that's actually the first book I'll read from Elechi Amadi. And when Ekweme died, God, guys, I'm going to read that book again, and I'm going to review it on this channel, because we are going far back. So guys, continuing with the story. So Olumati felt so bad, and this affected him so much. He stopped everything that he was doing. The wine that he was tapping, he felt betrayed by his friend Wizo, but it wasn't Wizo's fault. It was just a case of who was smarter and who was quicker to make his intentions known. So that was just the case. So I'm not even going to blame Wizo. The only person I'm going to blame is Olumati. Later on, Adiba was telling him that that is Wizo's sister. Adiba was telling him that that it's possible that Enna's family might not have accepted Olumati, because the fact that people still think he's a slave of Amadioha. So yes, he might have been accepted into the society. People might have been cool with him, but they do not forget. So just like the elephant never forgets, so they do not forget that this person has been alleged to be a slave of Amadioha. So nobody wants to incur the wrath of Amadioha. So it was just so crazy, and you just look at the fact that once there's a stigma, no matter what is done to erase the stigma is always there, and people still look at you with doubts. That's just what it was. But I'm still of the opinion that you cannot just base your facts on that. Olumati still would have gone to meet Enna and asked her hand in marriage. Let it be that it's Enna that refused that I cannot marry you. So I just wanted it to be that way. You won't actually blame Enna for picking Wizo over Olumati. I'm sure that if you ask, I'm very, very sure that Enna actually see, I know what I read. I'm sure that Enna liked Olumati, but Olumati was not forthcoming. Olumati was not forthcoming. I'm still of the opinion that Olumati should have just gone to ask Enna out. And now I would say Enna was a very beautiful girl. So it was not just one suitor that she had. She had many suitors. So many people wanted her for a wife. So you will not expect her to keep waiting for Olumati to be man enough or for Olumati to have enough money to come and marry her. Because you know what they say, oge wa gaga. So it just means that a woman's time actually goes. So she's not young forever, and it's best for her to marry when she's young. So that is how it is here. So I'll just say that it was just now left for Enna to pick from one of the many suitors that she had, and she picked Wizo. When Wizo was talked about, Wizo seems like a cool guy, and it was actually fun. So I remember a situation. It happened to an uncle of mine. So he had this girlfriend who I liked so much. So they were just so much in love with each other. They were always seen together. And then one evening she came with an invitation card. And I was thinking, okay, is the invitation card that has her name and my uncle's name in it. And that was not so. She was getting married to another man. And I was like, I was so sad. I felt like I didn't even want to talk to her. I felt like she had betrayed us. She had betrayed my uncle and what. I'm like, but you people love each other so much. Why are you not getting married? And she was like, your uncle is not ready to get married, and I'm not getting any younger. So I've met someone that is serious, that wants to marry me as soon as possible. So she had to go ahead and marry. Hi, heartbreak. I wanted to die. I wanted to cry. Oh my god. Oh my god. I just felt so bad. And so I'll reflect it to the situation we have in the book between Olumati and Enna. Enna accepted someone that made his intentions known, someone that was forthcoming with what he had in mind. And Wizo had contributed so much to the outing, the marks, the carvings, everything. He had done so much. So I felt okay. It was cool, but I just felt so bad for Olumati. So it affected Olumati so much because Olumati was well on his way to becoming comfortable, like to having enough money to actually back up his desire for wanting to marry Enna once he had told her, because Olumati was already a successful palm wine tapper. So his trees were doing fine, his harvests were going fine, he was harvesting big yams. So I feel that Olumati had this in mind. He knew that, okay, just in a matter of time, just little time, he was going to make enough money, and things were looking up for him, and he will finally ask Enna to be his wife. But now the thing is, delay is dangerous. That statement cannot be overemphasized, and procrastination is just so bad. No matter, oh my god, this is the second book I would read from Elechi Amadi. The first one I read was actually The Concubine, and it has the main characters as Ihuoma and Ekoeme. I love that story so much. Although it was a tragic story, very, very tragic, I felt I've not recovered from what I read, from how the book ended. And now I read the sleeve and I was thinking, okay, things should look better here. Let it not end tragically, please. And Elechi Amadi did not listen to me. Not like I was born when he wrote the book, but he just went ahead and wrote his story. And guys, I felt so bad. God, I was almost crying. Like, I just felt so bad for Olumati. How I tried to just reduce the sad feeling I was feeling at that moment was, I tried to blame Olumati, because yes, indeed, it is Olumati's fault, but there might be other circumstances that might have impeded his desire to marry Enna. What if the family had disagreed? would Enna really go against her father? Okay, yes, it is said that Enna's father actually loves her so much. So he's this person that is liberal with her when it comes to her. He allows her make her own decisions. So if not, he would have forced her to marry somebody since, especially he would have forced her to marry Asu since. But he was quite a liberal father and a good father to her. So would she have, when these things are talked about, when it comes to culture, oh my god, like I said in the beginning of this video, Igbo people are so tenacious when it comes to tradition, culture, and and beliefs. I just felt so bad. So how it ended was that Olumati, before his relation from another clan in that same village could give him any real help or talk more to him to make Olumati see that Enna marrying someone else was not the end of the world. For someone who felt so bad that Enna had agreed to marry Wizo, you would think that maybe he was going every day to ask Enna to be his wife and she was refusing him. You did not make your intentions known, bruv. You did not. You did not. So I'm going to blame you. I'm going to keep blaming you so that I do not feel so bad, because already I feel so bad as it is. And so before any real help could be given to Olumati, he deserted the village and he went back to the village where he was coming from. He submitted himself to Amadi. He submitted to be a slave of Amadi. So it just means that he went back and took refuge in Amadioha's shrine to become a slave of Amadioha. And I was so furious because we've spent over how many chapters? A year plus. The characters, they spent a year plus, especially his sister Aleru. She's just the best sister. So we spent so much trying to bring you back into society, trying to make you accepted in the society, so that you can blend with the society and people can just come to accept you in the long while, in the long run, that okay, you're one of them and you're not a slave of Amadioha. And you go to do that to us. Olumati, how dare you do that to us? You go back and you submit yourself to be a slave of Amadioha. Imagine, who does that? Yeah, I'm not going to make any excuses for Olumati. I'm not going to try to understand how Olumati felt, because it was just so painful. Imagine. So if you look at the title of the book, The Slave, at first when I was reading the book, I was thinking, oh, the slave, but it's no longer a slave now. They thought he was a slave, and it was actually established that he was not a slave of Amadioha. The theory that was given was very, very good, and he said to settling in the community and whatnot. And he finally goes back to be the slave. So the title of the book corresponds so well. I don't think there's a better name that would have been given to this book. The slave is just the slave. So Olumati is the slave, and I am pissed. I am so pissed. I am so pissed. So from what I read, Elechi actually wrote a trilogy for African Writers series. So there's The Concubine, The Slave, and The Great Pawns. So I've read The Concubine, I've read The Slave now, so it remains The Great Pawns. And God, I am so skeptical about reading The Great Pawns, because who knows? I might be faced with another tragedy. I might be faced with something that will make me feel so bad. I finished reading this book on Sunday. Today is Tuesday. So 2 days later, and I am still, the anger I felt at concluding The Slave has still not subsided. So will I ever be able to recover from this? I think I'll just not think about it, because I just feel so bad. Let's now discuss other parts of this book. So guys, if you're interested in knowing about African culture, especially when we bring it down to Nigeria and then the Igbo land, that is the eastern part of Nigeria, guys, this is just the book for you. And if you're interested about knowing how people lived in Nigeria, or how the Igbo land fared before Nigeria became Nigeria, this book is the book for you. So this book is so rich in culture, guys. When they were explaining the wrestling, oh my god, it's as if it was just so vivid. It's like you're watching, it's like you're there. Guys, nothing is lost on this book. And The author is so good with words. Guys, this is just the book for you. And it just resonates so much. Like, I was reading this book, I was thinking of my grandfather. Like, my grandfather is late now. And I was just thinking of my grandfather and the stories he used to tell me when he was still alive. And guys, this book is just the best. Yes, I know it ended tragically, but you should read this book. This book is very, very old. 1978, and we're in 2021. This book was written in the 20th century, and now we're in the 21st century. Guys, this is the book you should read. You should read this book. I just feel like when I say African literature, when I want to take it back, when I want to do a throwback, when I say African literature, it is books that are written by the likes of Chinua Achebe, Ugugi Wantongo, Buchi Emecheta, Ole Soyinka. I don't know, for the longest time, before I started reading the contemporary African literature, when I think of African literature, I think of those books with red covers, because I think the original publication of the slave and even the concubine, they had red covers. Even things fall apart. If you've read the slave, did you like the book? What do you feel? Are you as angry as I am at the way the book ended? Are you? I just love to hear your comment in comment section down below. Guys, this book is highly recommended by me. Just read this book. This book is rich in culture. It is rich in everything, even the language. Oh my gosh. The description is it is spot on. It is so descriptive. Guys, this is the book you should read. And so let me know if you're willing to read this book, or if you've read this book. I'd just love to hear your comment. Let's discuss about this book in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching my video. This is going to be a thing now, so I'm going to be reviewing more classical novels, and I hope we do have a fun time together reading these books. We're going to take it back, because these books, they are old. You might look at them like, oh, they are old books, I'm not going to read them. Don't do that. Don't do that. I feel this book should be kept in the museum. Yes, it should be kept in the museum. And you know one funny thing? For the longest time, I was thinking Elechi Amadi was a woman, but he's actually a man. It is so crazy, because what actually made me know that, oh, Elechi Amadi is actually a man, was the dedication page. He said, to my wife Dory. I'm like, this man is a man. Elechi Amadi is actually a man. And I feel why I felt Elechi Amadi was a woman was because of the first name, Elechi. Most times, people who have chi as ending their first names, they are mostly women. Just like you hear Uchechi, you say, oh, okay, a guy, Uchechi just looks so feminine, chi, that kind of thing. So that's what I was thinking. But Elechi Amadi is a man. So how many of you think Elechi Amadi was a woman? Elechi Amadi is a man. So guys, do not forget to like this video. Just like this video so it gets recommended to other people. Share this video, and guys, do not forget to subscribe. I'll see you in my very next video. Thank you so much for watching again. I love you guys. Bye. Mwah.